Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another episode of Sessions with Cheryl. If you didn't see my last video, Sessions with Cheryl is a segment that I'm doing where I essentially just debrief after I've had a session with my counselor Cheryl, and I just share the advice that she gave me about whatever we were talking about. Again, I don't see her on a consistent basis. I realize these are coming out kind of close together, but it's just going to be sort of sporadic. I just want to preface this by saying that Cheryl, my counselor, is a Christian counselor. Like, she's not specifically a Christian counselor. She'll counsel non-Christians or whatever. But she herself is a Christian. I'm a Christian. And so anyway, if you're not a believer, maybe this video isn't for you. But anyway, so I just want to preface by saying, like, we did talk about faith and religion. And so anyway, if you too are a Christian, or if you're curious about the Christian faith, keep watching. But today I just want to talk about the question, does God send signs or give you signals, basically? Will God give you a sign? And I think we ask ourselves this a lot whenever we're in a transitional period, or we're kind of in between places, or we have a big decision to make, whether it's what job you want, or what school you want to go to, or like a relationship, or whatever it is. I think we often will ask God for a sign just to let us know that we're on the right track, we're doing the right thing. I want to live out God's will, obviously. And so whatever his will is, I want that to be what path I'm on in my life. And we do have free will. So you may not be walking in God's will, and that's what I want. I think every Christian wants that. So I just want to do the right thing. I want to do right by him, and I want to do what's best for me. But sometimes it's hard to know what that is, especially when you have different opportunities and the future, like wondering about the future. It can always be kind of nerve-wracking or cause anxiety. And so that's what I talked to Cheryl about. And honestly, it's totally normal to be anxious about the future and to want to get it right, but there's no crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen. And so it's hard to know what the right thing is, but I do think prayer is the best way to go about this. And so if you do have a question, just pray to God, God, I don't know what to do, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I am asking for you to give me some guidance wherever your will is for my life. Will you please just point me in that direction? Just put a big blinking neon sign with arrows so I don't miss it. Make it evident to me what I'm supposed to do in accordance with your will for my life. And so just ask him to be clear with you. But then once you do that, you just have to let go and trust that he's going to do that, and trust that even if it's not necessarily what you wanted, that it is what's best for you, and that he wouldn't guide you in that direction if it wasn't the right thing. And so just again, ask for a sign. For one, ask for guidance, ask for some direction, ask for him to open the doors that are meant for you. And if you're going through doors that aren't meant for you, ask God to shut them. Like, literally, even if it slams in your face and bloodies your nose, ask God to shut those doors that aren't meant for you, because I promise you're going to find much more happiness and fulfillment and just peace on the path that God has designed for you than doing your own thing. Even if right now it looks like that's the best option, just put it in God's hands, trust in him. And when he does send you in a direction, then follow that, and ask him to just put a stop to anything that isn't meant for you. And I know sometimes that's hard because we want a certain outcome and we want things to go a certain way, but sometimes it's just not meant to be that way. It's not what's best for you. And so that's difficult, but just make sure that you are listening for God also, because I know sometimes we can be like, oh, I want to know if this is the right thing, and then we just look for evidence of the outcome we want. We look for a reason to go the way that we want to go instead of the way that may or may not be like, whether that's God's plan or not. We look for evidence for what we want, even if the sign that God has given us is pointing us in the other direction. So make sure you ask him to close those doors that aren't meant for you. And we talked about Nazareth, the story of Nazareth, and he was called to put an army together. God had told him to put an army together, and he didn't know. He didn't know if that came from God. And honestly, sometimes it's hard. You'll feel like you're being pulled in one direction or called in one direction, but it's hard to know sometimes. Is that society telling you that? Is that your parents telling you that? Is that a significant other telling you that? Is that your own anxiety and fears telling you that? Or is it really coming from God? And so Nazareth wasn't sure whenever he was called to put together an army. He wasn't sure if it was coming from God. And he said, okay, God, if this is you. He took a fleece and he laid it out on the ground. And he said, God, if this is you, then in the morning, make the ground wet and the fleece dry. And he woke up in the morning, and sure enough, the ground was wet and the fleece was dry. But he still wasn't sure that wasn't enough for him to really be positive that was God. And so he set out the fleece again, and he said, okay, God, this time make the ground dry and the fleece wet. And the second time it happened again. And so then finally Nazareth was like, okay, like, I hear you, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do your will. But even he wasn't sure, and so it's okay to not know where that's coming from. It's hard to know the difference between anxiety and intuition sometimes. And your intuition can be manipulated, I think, by your friends and your family and Instagram and whatever, can make you think that you need a certain thing or a certain lifestyle, or you need to do a certain thing, follow a certain timeline. And that's not necessarily true, but really listen to your heart and your gut, because your intuition does come from God. And so, if you have just a gut feeling, then I just want to encourage you to pray about it. But then once you pray about it, you do have to put trust in God that he's going to take it from there, and he's going to make it happen, and he's going to give you the opportunities you need, and he's going to shut the doors that aren't for you. But at the same time, you can't sit idly by and expect it to just come to you. So if you have a job opportunity and you really want it and you pray about it and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I got this job opportunity, I think I want to take it, is this your will for me or whatever? You can't just sit there and expect, everything to just fall into your lap. You have to do the work. You have to be good at the job to keep it. You've got to show up. You've got to be the best you can at it. You've got to take initiative. So that may not be the best example, but anyway, whenever you ask for a sign, yes, pray about it, and yes, put your faith in him and trust in him that he's going to do whatever is right for you and what you asked of him. But also, you have to do the work, and you have to take action. Keep going down. Don't just stop, keep going in the direction that you're feeling called, and that your intuition is leading you, and that your heart is leading you. And then trust that God's going to, if he needs to, change your path or open up way more doors than you ever thought possible, if that's what's really meant for you. And I know it's hard because, sometimes we'll pray about it and we feel like we don't hear anything. And so it's hard to I guess just make space to hear God. And Cheryl was telling me about Samuel, and he lived in the temple with Eli, and one night he kept hearing God call him, and God would say, Samuel, Samuel. And so he'd go wake up Eli and be like, the Lord is speaking, we need to listen. And Eli would listen and he didn't hear anything. So they went back to bed, and then he heard Samuel, Samuel again. And he woke up Eli and he said, Eli, the Lord is speaking. And he did that several times. And then finally Eli was like, okay, Samuel, when you hear God calling you again, just say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. And then God spoke to him. And so like you have to listen. So make space to listen, and like take the time to pray about it, put your trust in him, and then wait, and like listen for him. And he's gonna show you, or you're gonna have a feeling, or you're going to, a door is going to close or open one way or another. But then at the same time, you have to take that action. Like if God opens a door, then take it. If God closes a door, accept that and move forward. And then also just, it is okay to not know. It's okay to not know. It's okay to doubt. And just ask for, like, God tells us, ask and like you shall receive. And so if you need a sign, if you need some guidance, like God wants to give that to you, and he wants what's best for you, and he's going to guide you along the path. But you have to ask him to do his will in your life, because you do have free will. So you don't have to do what God wants. And I think he does try and steer us in that direction in our lives, like whether we ask or not. But if you're really like struggling with a decision, then really ask him to just take it from you and to just do his will in your life. And I think you'll be so surprised with how he shows up for you. I found that God has shown up in so many ways for me. I kind of talked about this on the podcast, so you can go listen to that if you want. But I recently, I've been renovating my house, and I'm at a fairly new job, but I took a pay cut from my last job. And then with Christmas happening not that long ago and various other things, financially, I was just kind of stressed. Like I wasn't going to lose my house or anything, but I was just stressed. And then I get a check in the mail for $6.88 from my electric company. I had like overpaid my electric bill, and I was just kind of like, haha, God, like you're hilarious, thanks, you know. And so that was kind of funny. And then out of nowhere, so I used to babysit in high school, like who didn't? And out of nowhere, the family that I used to babysit for like 5 years ago texted me and was like, hey, can you babysit? And so I came into some extra money. And anyway, then I was like, okay, wow, like, thank you. I really needed that. And then I was cleaning out my email inbox, and I noticed an email from my university about we had like a little debit card type thing that they would put our meal plan and stuff on. So anyway, I got an email that I had been charged a fee, and I was like, what the heck? I haven't gone to school there in years. Sorry, somebody's driving by. Anyway, I haven't gone to school there in years, so I was like, okay, why was I charged this fee? Like, that account has been closed. Well, I called them. Turns out I had gotten a scholarship refund, and so I had thousands of dollars sitting in this bank account for 3 years. And I don't mean for that to come off like braggy, like, oh my gosh, I got so much money. But like that, I was just like, okay, wow, God, like, wow. Like, I thought you were trying to be funny with the electric bill thing, and sorry for doubting you. And because I had prayed, I was like, I need help. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is so hard. Like, I didn't know. And so anyway, I was like, please help. And yeah, and he did. And I was just like, holy cow. And so he has shown up for me in that way, and so many other ways, just so many times where like I've had this gut feeling and like this intuition, and I've been right, or it's led me to make a decision that was like the best thing that ever happened to me. And so really just prayer is a powerful thing. And I want to encourage you to just, and it doesn't have to be anything, like sometimes like my prayers are as short as, Lord, I need your help. I need your help. I don't know what to do. I need your help. Please take this. And that's that's all it takes, you know? And so, I just want to encourage you, if you are struggling with a decision or you're just in a confused place and you lack some direction for your life, I'm all for like goal setting. I love setting goals. I love making lists. I love accomplishing tasks and checking things off. But sometimes like you don't take a step back to ask yourself, am I on the right track? And I think that's like where this comes in, is like sometimes you just look up and you're like, how did I get here? And where do I go from here now? Where do I go next? And is this really where I want to be in life, or is there something better? And so again, just to recap, ask God for a sign, ask God for, it's not gonna be like skywriting, you know what I mean? But like, you know, ask him to just make it clear. And like literally as clear as day, make it clear. And then make sure you ask him to close whatever doors aren't for you, because we do have free will and we tend to wander far from the path he's laid out for us. So just ask him to slam those doors shut if they're not for you, and trust that that is his will and that's his process. And so just letting that go and going with what is kind of falling into place, because that is what is meant for you. And then just again, like listening and just keeping an open heart and an open mind. And sometimes miracles and signs and things don't come in the way that we would expect, but just keep an eye out for them. And I hope that helps. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting a counselor or a therapist, or if that's just not in the cards for you right now, just a close friend that you can trust. It always helps me so much to just talk to people. Cheryl has been a godsend, literally, and seeing her has changed my life completely. I cannot recommend it enough. And so anyway, I wish you the best, and I know God's going to do amazing things in your life and take you down a super amazing path. And yeah, don't forget to pray about it. I'll see you next time.